Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to our channel, and thanks for logging on. If you like this watch, drop me a line at tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description, but it's my new direct line for those of you who are looking at Watchbox reviews and wondering how you're supposed to get the sales process started. Even if you just have questions about tech, spec, and collectability, tmosso@thewatchbox.com for all of your wristwatch needs. And today we are discussing the IWC Portuguese Hand Wound. This is a reference launched in 2010, and specifically the 545406 that you see here, launched in 2011. Rose gold with an ardoise sunburst slate metallic dial. This is a relatively faithful iteration of the original 1939 reference 325, unofficially the first Portugieser or Portuguese, depending on whether you're speaking German or English. Now, the watch on my wrist is 44 millimeters in diameter by 10.2 millimeters thick by 51.7 millimeters lug-to-lug, but you can see even on my smallish 16 centimeter wrist, it's the sharp downward curvature, almost 90 degrees from the horizontal of the case band, that makes this 44 millimeter watch wearable on a small wrist, and I can recommend it for wrists as small as 15 centimeters. Although a vintage inspired watch, it does have a broad lug spacing which marks it as a contemporary piece, 22 millimeters between the lugs. The original Portuguese reference 325 in 1939 was conceived as the world's most accurate wristwatch by dint of its pocket watch caliber, then more accurate, inside a wristwatch case. That's why it was also the first oversized watch, because of the pocket watch movement, initially in IWC caliber 74. Now we'll get to the movement in a moment. First, let's talk about the fittings. Large rectangular scale alligator leather, black, semi-gloss finish, bolstered to give it body, sheer-sided construction so you can see the layers, monotone stitch, black on both sides, gator on the bottom, a new IWC factory strap. You'll be the first to crimp it or gouge it. IWC rose gold, I should say 5N red gold, pin buckle with both polished fastening and satination. Thin mid cases are a signature of wristwatches made from the 30s through the 60s, whether we're talking dive watches, sports chronographs, or even dress watches. And the Portuguese, in this 5454, no exception. As you can see, the mid case is thin, and it's satin finished with a polish on the lug hoods, as well as the narrow bezel itself, which is minimalist in Portuguese fashion. It's almost like a rose gold halo around the watch. Now, the original Portugieser, the 325, was born of the same era as the Patek Philippe 96, unofficially the first Calatrava, and though there was a huge disparity in scale, the same integrated lug case construction, form-following function, was a derivative of a common 1930s ethos of design. So that's why the 96 and the Portuguese look so similar, despite their immense disparity in dimensions. The dial is well true to history. No date, 3 hands, sub-seconds at 6 o'clock, leaf-style hands. You'll also note the railroad track for the minutes outboard and the vertically arrayed simple font Arabic numerals with outboard indices. There are applique, both index and numeral, on this dial, and you have a sunburst in what IWC calls ardoise, or gray slate metallic. You also note a miniature railroad track for the sub-seconds with a counterweighted Lancet-style seconds hand, and a lovely nostalgic index at 60 in red. Turn it all over, and as with the original 325 from 1939, we have an IWC pocket watch caliber. This one, the IWC 98300, 18 jewels, 5-position adjustment, like a chronometer would be, and you can see it features a balance beaten away at 18,000 vibrations per hour. It features an overcoil hairspring to help it keep excellent time in any orientation. It also features an enormous hacking or stop seconds lever, and you can see that hacking lever adjacent to the balance. The watch has a manual wind 46-hour power reserve, and it's designed in the fashion of a pocket watch caliber, such as you would have seen in the 19th century Schaffhausen manufacture or early 20th century, including the 1930s. It's important to remember IWC continued making pocket watches right up into the modern era. Now you have a lovely pocket watch inspired click and click spring. You can see the click being drawn out from its housing in that lovely swan's neck click spring adjacent. Crown wheel, ratchet wheel atop the barrel, and a center wheel architecture that is very much of the pocket watch era. Center wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel, escape wheel, anchor, giant balance that's almost the radius of the movement, almost half the diameter, which by the way is about 37 millimeters, meaning it fills the case back. Note the jewels set in chaton pocket watch style in a 3/4 bridge covering the entire drivetrain pocket watch style with a Jones arrow index, again like IWC pocket watches, and a single-sided half bridge or balance cock. 18 jewels, hand regulated, handsomely executed with Côte de Genève, as well as engine turning and chamfering on the bevels with black polish of the screw heads. It's a good looking movement and a good looking watch. 30 meters water resistant, so this is no aquatic timepiece. Nevertheless, this could easily be your everyday, as it's a relatively tough basic movement in an all-around design that is time-tested in any theater. See it and make it yours on thewatchbox.com.